So something truly historic just went down in the Philippines. We're talking about the 2026 Traslacion, and it didn't just break records, it absolutely shattered them. So we're going to break down how this single procession turned into one of the longest, most intense displays of faith, well, ever. 30 hours, 50 minutes, and 1 second. Just let that number sink in for a moment. That's the official time it took for the carriage of the Black Nazarene to finish its journey. To put that into perspective for you, that is nearly 10 hours longer than the year before. I mean, it just blew every single expectation out of the water. Which, of course, raises the big question, how on earth does a procession that's supposed to take maybe 15 hours stretch into more than a full day? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. It's this powerful and kind of chaotic combination of faith, friction, and just sheer overwhelming numbers. Now, just so we're all on the same page, the Traslacion is this huge annual procession. At its heart, it's the sacred journey of this revered statue of Jesus Christ, known as the Black Nazarene, and it's carried through the streets of Manila, literally surrounded by millions of faithful devotees.
Okay, so to really get how this whole thing unfolded, we've got to look at the timeline. And let me tell you, it was a marathon. All right, so it all kicked off before the sun was even up on Friday. But by that evening, things hit a wall. Literally, a massive bottleneck on Arlegui Street brought everything to a complete standstill for almost 10 hours. It wasn't until 24 hours into the procession that they finally reached the Dungaw, which is this traditional meeting of statues. And it took till almost 11 in the morning on Saturday for it to finally get back home to Quiapo Church. And this one moment, wow, it just says everything, doesn't it? After 24 straight hours on their feet, a priest actually suggested, hey, maybe we should all pause and get some rest. But the devotees? They weren't having it. They flat out refused. Their collective will was to see this through no matter what it took. So what in the world caused a delay this massive? Well, it wasn't just one single thing. It was more like a cascade of problems, a perfect storm. Let's dig into the anatomy of this giant bottleneck. First off, you have to try and wrap your head around the sheer scale. Officials estimate that 9.6 million people took part in the festivities. I mean, can you even picture what 9.6 million people looks like? That number alone helps you understand the unbelievable pressure on every single inch of that route. And look, these weren't just a series of unlucky breaks. It was a domino effect. That massive crowd is what created the 10-hour standstill. And during that time, the strain was so immense that the thick ropes they used to pull the carriage, they just snapped. On top of all that, there were reports of mechanical failures with the carriage's wheels, which were probably just buckling under all that constant pressure. Now, an incredible journey of this length. It obviously comes with some pretty profound consequences, both physically and spiritually. It really forces you to look at where devotion meets the absolute limits of human endurance. And here's the stark reality of that. The physical toll was severe. We're talking 4 confirmed deaths and over 1,000 injuries. But for the millions there, the reason why they were doing it was so much bigger than the pain. For them, this was all about expressing profound gratitude, a powerful, visible sign of a shared, unwavering belief. You know, the official theme for this year's Traslacion really gives you a window into this mindset. He must increase, but I must decrease. It's this core idea of putting the sacred, something bigger than you, before yourself. And that really became the mantra for millions as they just pushed through their own exhaustion. So, after an event like this, you have to ask, what now? What are the lessons we can take from this? An event this historic means organizers are already looking at making some pretty big changes for next time. So the number one priority is making 2027 safer. Officials are really zeroing in on 3 key things. First, taking a hard look at all the safety rules. Second, beefing up the carriage design to make sure it can handle the strain. And third, coming up with entirely new strategies for crowd control so a bottleneck like that just can't happen again. Which leaves us with this one final, really complex question. This 30-hour journey is going to be remembered for years. But how? As this unparalleled triumph of human faith? Or as a critical failure of logistics that put millions of people at risk? The truth is, it was probably both. A beautiful, messy, dangerous, and unforgettable collision of the